Oh boy. Oh boy. Where do I even start with all the problems in this episode? It looks like it's supposed to be making fun of the negative traits of the fandom, but it doesn't work for a number of reasons. Like, first of all, the fandom, a lot of the things that these horses say aren't even things that fans say. Like, everyone hating Rarity? That's not a thing in the fandom. Everybody loving Applejack and want to be part of her family? That's not a thing in the fandom. I mean, Applejack does have her fans, but for the most part it seems to be a fandom meme that Applejack is a background pony. Why is that not in this episode? All of her Applejack's episodes are about her family, and, like, Applejack barely ever gets a personal her episode. It's a fallacious thing to begin with, because Applejack's, one of her strongest traits is her bond with her family. That's kind of her thing, you know? So, like, everyone calling her a background pony because of that, that's fallacious, and they should have brought that up in this episode. And they didn't. They just made a bunch of random up.
You're just making all this up.
It's baffling, honestly. And then there's the issue of it being a book. The book is a true story in this universe. I mean, not only is it a book, but it's a true story with actual people in it. So that makes me very questioning how they were supposed to make that translate properly. And they didn't. They didn't even try to translate that properly. Like, it would be one thing if this were an episode about Daring Do, maybe, and not everyone knew that Daring Do actually was an actual person. But, I mean, just, it doesn't work. There's a reason why Daring Do exists in this universe to begin with. Although, then again, there was that one time where Rainbow Dash was arguing with the Daring Do fan, and he didn't know that Daring Do was real, and that still handled the whole thing a lot better, but no, not this episode. And then there's that song. That song could be so easily misinterpreted as, we don't want them to get better. A lot of people saw that in that song. That's not what the song is about, I can tell, but yeah, that's an easy thing to misinterpret. And then there's the issue of the episode's resolution.
I didn't learn anything.
We hope you've enjoyed No Moral Theater.
Yeah, nothing was solved. Nothing. Literally nothing but Twilight Sparkle's self-imposed self-doubt. It's not like it's out of character for her to have that doubt, mind, but all they had to do was explain it wasn't her fault. And, you know, the funny thing is that this episode changed literally nothing about how the ponies of Equestria viewed them. Yeah, I know, that's kind of a spoiler, but the status quo gets reset. They changed the status quo at the end of the episode. Wow, that's bad. Especially for a show that's so good with its continuity. So, yeah, that's pretty terrible episode. And I just, how did this happen? I don't get it. I mean, they even had another character who was a fan of the princesses, who was handled with a surprising amount of tact, because at first he kind of looked like a straw fan, like all of these fans, but then it turns out they actually handled him with a lot of tact. Like, straw fans are a real big problem in animation, I've noticed. Like, a fanboy from Freakazoid, yeah, I know he's played for laughs, but oh my god, that character just rubs me the wrong way sometimes.
Oh, hey, I was just talking to Harlan on the internet, and I told him I hadn't seen a good cyberspace scene like this one since Tron, which is not the film that broke the bank at Disney in 1983, as some believe.
He's still funny, don't get me wrong, but just no. And then there's, like, the Please, Please, Please Get a Life Foundation from Animaniacs.
And in the theme song, it's pay or play contracts, not pay for play. Some people think it's for, but it's or. The closed captioning was wrong when it said for.
It's like, yeah, it's funny, but why don't they portray the good fans in these shows? Where are they? You don't just have to make fun of the bad fans. And then, God, Batmite and Mr. Mixie. But yeah, Mixie. I know there's a scene from Superman, the animated series, where it shows how to pronounce it, but I can't remember it. But anyway, those two are Straw fans, or at least Mixie Pig is Straw fan, like, sometimes, but not always, just sometimes. Like, sometimes he's just a thorn in the superhero side, but Batmite is pretty much always a fanboy. And, like, yeah, it's just, you have these Straw fan characters, but you don't, like, represent the good fan. Actually, that's not true. In Batman the Brave and the Bold, I think they did show a few good fans, and possibly a gay couple. Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't even notice that before, but apparently they had a gay couple, at least hinted at in that show. That was interesting. I don't know, just this whole thing about Straw fans is that you have to represent the good fans, too. You can't just have the Straw fans and not the good fans. It kind of makes it look like you don't care much about the fan base when you do that, I think. And especially when you make the Straw fans especially nerdy, like Batmite and Fanboy. Yeah, ugh. These those especially weird fans, it's like, this is, like, they're basically saying that's how they view their fan base, by not including the other fan. And, you know, obviously that's not true, but it kind of sends the wrong message when you do things like that. So I'm glad that they at least made up for it in a later episode by having this socially awkward fan of the princesses handled with tact. And yes, he was still socially awkward, but, you know, that's kind of how most of the fan base is, honestly. So I can't really fault them for that. But yeah, this episode sucks, bottom line. I'm sure there are worse episodes out there, but this is definitely near the bottom of the barrel, at least. So, till next time, stay determined.